Hey everybody, this is Perch, and it's coming to an end. The Krakoa era is finally coming to an end, and we knew this was happening. They were going to wrap it all up as Tom Brevoort was coming into the X lineup to edit it with brand new creators. Apparently, a lot of difficulties in finding some creators to usher in this new era, but we finally know when it is, we know how it's going to end, and it's going to mirror the start of how all this stuff came in. So if you remember, we got back in 2019. There were two 6-issue series called House of X and or House of X Powers of 10 or Powers of X, and these were each 6 issues. And this was Jonathan Hickman, Pepe Larraz on House of X, and Hickman and R.B. Silva on Powers of 10. And basically, the way the two series kind of worked is House of X was told in kind of today's timeline, where we were seeing how the Krakoa era began, how Professor X kind of really got things going, introducing Moira and the big twist about her mutant power. And in the Powers of 10, it was showing a potential future, as the X-Men series did in years past, that would talk about kind of the far dream ahead. And the series kind of interwoven between the two. They didn't follow kind of one right after another. There were a couple issues, in particular the 2-part series on the Once More Into the Breach, and It Will Be Done, kind of as these two series in House of X. But anyway, these two series came out in 2019. It was a relatively quick run. They announced that Hickman was going to join in March, and then this thing went from July to October, generated a ton of interest in Marvel in particular, and also the X-Men books. And so how are they going to finish that? Well, I'll put the obvious joke out right out the gate. So these were 2 series that ran side by side, and they were both 6 issues. In the conclusion, they're going to once again do 2 series called Fall of the House of X and Rise of the Powers of 10. And the House of X, the Fall of House of X series, is going to be written by Jerry Duggan with art by Lucas Wernick. And Pepe Larraz is going to be doing the covers, so, thanks, Marvel. And Rise of Powers of 10 is going to be written by Kieran Gillen with art and covers, in this case, by R.B. Silva. So they got half the creative team back, or one half of the art creative team back, old Pepe Larraz. But in this time, rather than do 12 issues, it's Marvel, and these as everything shrinks, so too do these series. So we have 2 5-issue series, so we're getting 10 issues. And basically, here's what's written. It says the 2 new stories will come together to tell the tale of the rise and fall of Krakoa and mutant kind's resilience, as they face off against the enemies that have been hunting them for extinction. In Fall of the House of X, number 1, the final fight for Krakoa begins, while Rise of the Powers of 10 deals with the aftermath of the battle with Orcus as Orcus reigns supreme. The Orcus initiative has been a thorn in the X-Men side throughout Fall of X, but the X-Men has never been the type to go down without a fight. So we've got a couple issues here, issues 1 and 2, and then also some all this kind of stuff. It says the X-Men's revolutionary Krakoan age will conclude across 2 intertwined stories beginning in January and ending in March. Jerry Duggan and Lucas Wernick's Fall of House of X, Kieran Gillen and R.B. Silva's Rise of Powers of 10 will be 5-issue limited series telling the saga of both mutant kind's history and future in their fight against extinction. The 2 series that are one has been where this story has been leading since the dawn of Krakoa. This was in a Marvel press release. Polaris is coming from nowhere, and we hope you'll join us as well. And then, so we're getting some Polaris. And it says, the brief synopsis was, Polaris returns to guide the X-Men home, bringing a wicked surprise for Orcus. And meanwhile, in the other series by Gillen, Mutantum's last hope comes from outside time and space, floating between dimensions, hiding from a Dominion who wishes to crush them. The Dominion wound up being a kind of a version of Mr. Sinister, we're not sure which. Can Xavier and his crew survive? When we find out their plan, will we want them to? So that's how this thing all comes to an end, and it's I don't know, it's pretty, I guess, pretty wild that we're getting these series. It's 2024 basically when those come out, so this era will be kind of, a little bit 4 years, roughly, almost 4 years, not quite, because I guess 2019 to 2024, but starting in July and ending in in March. And coming off of this, we're going to get the new Brevoort version of what the X-Men are meant to be, and we'll see what he's able to put together. So, this is because they say they're coming to a conclusion, the story of the X-Men and what it's supposed to be. So we'll give it. Here's a little bit more about the story. It says mutant kind has never had a greater fall from the heights of Krakoa, their own glorious nation, a place where they're safe and happily, to the lowest of lows, outlawed, hunted, killed, most of their kind missing or dead, and now one of their greatest leaders, Cyclops, on a trial facing a death penalty. I mean, why? I mean, they just murdered the others. I don't know. Anyway, ready or not, the time has come for the X-Men to make their final stand against the forces that have struck them low. The day is now. The place is here. The tale the House Xavier built will long be told, and few will forget this darkest chapter. But all of this is meant to kind of wrap it all up, put it to an end, and then we get to whatever comes next. So anyway, it's kind of interesting to reflect, and we'll do, maybe I'll do the comic reviews, kind of back old style like I did when the originals came out, and we'll do this issue. I have a hard time believing this is going to have the same level of excitement that the original series did, but we'll see. Just for what it's worth, if you want a little bit more information, The Rise of the Powers of 10. It says, 10 years ago, the mutants returned from their exile to try and reclaim the Earth from the forces of Orcus. They failed. Now, within the victorious Orcus, put with their gauntlet choking the world, Nimrod and Omega Sentinel put their plan within a plan into action. They are to summon their binary god to consume everything in their ascension. All that stands between them is the X-Men. What can they do? They're the X-Men. They'll find a way. So there you have it. The series that, again, rebooted and then quickly led to, I think, I every now and then I run into people who still enjoy everything that there is that has come from the Krakoa era. More people than not have moved past it at this point. And it's a combination of kind of oversaturation, a lot of filler, comics that seem to not really steer into any action. The big elements that Hickman put into place with Dominions and the Technarchy and kind of all this looming threat. I mean, even Orcus itself, Nimrod and all that kind of stuff, went a good year to 2 years before really anything came to be. The Children of the Vault kind of was teased and then put on the shelf and then dug it back out again. But it was it's amazing. A series with such promise really sparked a lot of excitement. Marvel immediately out the gate went to spinoffs and more, and just how much can we milk this, and and then of course all the different creative talents that came in, many of which did not seem to share either the original vision that was set, bringing into question of what the vision was in the first place, or certainly the writing chops that get this whole thing kicked off. It's been a very bumpy road to get us to here. Now, today we look at it, and I mean, a good portion of the writers and the people in that original launch. I mean, Brian Edward Hill is doing kind of Ultimate Black Panther. Teenie Howard, of course, is doing Catwoman and Harley Quinn over at DC. A lot of the original talent. Duggan kind of wound up leading a lot of that stuff, but a lot of the people who helped kick all this stuff off have either made their way over to DC or completely doing something else. Ben Percy has been the one kind of from the original crew, along with Duggan, who's kind of stuck through it. But pretty crazy when you think about it's been less than 4 years. So that's pretty wild, right? It's a lot of comics. And somebody had posted, I mean, there have been more comics in this Krakoa era. If you count all the different series, and of course that's not fair, but work with me here for this time. To count all the different series that happened during the Krakoa era, the specials, the tie-ins, the limited series, all the kind of stuff that went on. It has been a longer run of comics than the Claremont era in a short amount of time, under 4 years. Pretty wild. But are you sad to see it go? And are you going to be picking up this series at the end, or are you done? And what are you looking forward to seeing happen next as the Brevoort era of the X-Men comes into being? We know Gail Simone is one of the writers for the X-Men. I think it's going to be great, bad, mediocre. What do you think's coming? Let me know in the comments below. It feels like full circle for this channel. God, actually, I take it back. Am I still going to have a channel when this series comes out? I don't know. Thanks for listening.